guys are watching Keeping It Real While We Heal. I'm in the 10th grade and and my name's Medina Mata and I'm here with
Allure, and I'm 16. Today we're going to be discussing anxiety.
My name is Naeem, I'm 16 years old, and today we're going to talk about symptoms, treatments, and possible resources for anxiety. Although we're not although we're not doctors, we just want to give you guys a teenage perspective on how we feel about anxiety.
First, can we talk about what is anxiety?
To sum it up, anxiety is like a constant feeling of worrying and excessive fear. And there's also many different types of anxiety. A few are separation anxiety, when it's hard to be away from something or someone. You have panic disorder when you're panicking, which can result in panic attacks. And you also have social anxiety, which a lot of people experience when it's hard to talk to people, like talk in big crowds and things like that, or just be around people.
Have you ever experienced anxiety?
I have. When I was in the 7th grade, it was like the lights were flittering and then they just turned off. It was like a blackout in my school. And I had went to the nurse and the nurse labeled it as anxiety. And so since it was like new to me, she thought, maybe sending me home would like be better because it's like the lights were they were off. They weren't coming back on anytime soon. So once I got home, I kind of told my mom about it. And she was just like, girl, it's just because you're scared of the dark. That's why you had that. But little did I know it was an actual anxiety attack. And like the way I felt like I was shaking. I felt like it was just different. It wasn't normal,
My personal experience is I used to experience many panic attacks, and that came from me worrying. And another thing is people fear what they don't know, which could also play a role into the anxiety because it's just constant worry, as I said earlier.
I feel anxiety sometimes when it comes to speaking in front of large crowds, or like you remember in school, like in 5th grade, they put you in groups and you have to present in front of the class. I would always start stuttering sometimes. My heart start beating fast, my hands start shaking. So yeah.
So, what can you do when you feel like that? When you ever feel you're having an anxiety attack or you just feel some type of pressure, what can you do?
To go into the treatment a little bit, you can meditate. You can do these deep breathing exercises. I know you guys told me before that you guys like to write and stuff. So just letting it out and venting is just one step closer to feeling okay because you're trying and you're letting it out. It's not just piling up and getting worse.
Yeah, not only writing, because some people don't like writing. I like writing, like poems, but I guess singing, dancing, whatever you do on a regular that makes you feel good and happy, do that.
Also, there's professional help you can seek, like therapists and psychiatrists, because it can come to a certain extent where you need medicine for it. And there's also a difference between having anxiety as like a feeling and having the actual disorder, which you might want to seek a little more help because it might not be something you can handle on yourself, which is completely fine.
Right.
Because there's resources out there to help us.
I feel like everyone has felt anxiety before, but they don't know for sure if they have the actual disorder or if it's just like a feeling that they're going to feel.
Or you're like me and don't like to label stuff because, people can go through stuff and hate to label it or then they're going to think they need more help. But no, sometimes anxiety can be small and it gets bigger if you just not actually take time to actually fix it,
More into the symptoms, there's many different symptoms, and you may not even think, oh, I might have anxiety, because you might just be feeling on edge, or you might be irritable, you're snapping on people, and you're like, okay, what was that for?
Right. Just being angry out of nowhere can be anxiety, just not eating right too sometimes can be anxiety because you're changing.
Can't fall to sleep. That's what I used to experience a lot. I would just be up because my mind was racing. I couldn't relax and just fall asleep because my mind's going. And that's another symptom, overthinking.
Right.
But one tip from me is to replace the negative thoughts with positive thoughts because we are human and we are in control of our bodies.
Right.
And we control what we put into it. If you're putting negative thoughts, that's what you're going to get out is negative.
Right. And for parents, if you see your child going through anything, talk to them. Listen, because that's all we really need for them.
Sometimes feeling like you have somebody to fall back on or you have a backbone or a support system, that's a big start. It's a big step, and it feels good to know because it's not always easy to go through it by yourself because sometimes people don't even like to speak up as it is. So if you go to somebody and they're not supportive, it's like, I should have just kept that to myself.
Right.
I feel like one thing parents struggle with is talking about anxiety because their
Right.
parents never had this type of conversation with them. They always brushed it off.
Right.
And they're going to do the same thing with us. But I feel like it's important to listen to your kids, give them advice, just give them a shoulder to lean on, because if they don't ever let out their feelings, it's just going to pile up, and then they're going to end up being angry all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching.
Keeping it real while we heal.